have the power to shape culture. We're celebrating 25 years. I've been involved in it since 1994 when it started. Our first cohort had 4 students, Macy Guppy, Raul Reese, Sally McMillan, and Bill Kuntz. Now we've probably doubled or tripled in size every year. The demographics of the students we admit have changed over time. We admit quite a few students from international students, and that really enriches our program to have so many students come in from all around the world, especially from the global south. I've been really proud of that. Over the years, we've had more applications and more acceptances, really from Africa, from Latin America, from Asia, and I've been really proud that we've had so many students from less represented parts of the world.
Not only do we draw in international students, but the work that we do is highly international. So even our US students often go abroad to do research. So we're doing research in Ghana, in Senegal, in India, answering these kind of questions. And so we have these global flows that are really important. And so that's the kind of thing that I get a kick out of, just being able to connect with students all over the world. This past summer, I got to travel with students to Spain and then again to India. The graduate students went with us and contributed to those trips. So we don't necessarily see them as students, we see them as junior colleagues. They're members of our family, they're parts of our community. And so we really bring them in and we invest a lot of personal time with our students. And I think that's what makes us different.
This is a story that I think shows the difference between the advisor-student relationship at the SOJC compared to other units. I was at the first birthday party for one of our students' little girl. And I was talking to someone I had never met before who was a doctoral student in a different unit on campus. And he said, "So what is your relationship to Alec and Bethany?" And I said, "I'm Alec's advisor." And his eyes opened really wide and he just kind of looked at me and he goes, "My advisor would never come to something like this." And that's the difference. We're not just business partners, we're family.
It's kind of like being a parent in some ways. Your goal as an advisor is to really actually have them not to need you anymore. So it's exciting, but I find an emotional connection and a relationship with my advisees.
So I graduated from the Media Studies doctoral program in 2012, returning after a career in the media professions in Los Angeles to come back and get an advanced degree. I think that when you complete the doctoral program here, you're going to find that you are really ready to take on the rigors of being a scholar. It's funny, it's a little daunting. I think it was for me to basically associate the word scholar, and my name in the same sentence. It's humbling, but it's also gives you a sense of authority about a particular domain of knowledge, and the ability to contribute to that domain of knowledge. And you enter a community of other scholars who share or in other ways complement the work that you're doing, and it's an amazing journey.
I always say when I teach people and in the research I do, I hope to crack your brain open in a way that it opens your mind and makes you think about things in ways you never have before. So it's like, oh, I never thought of it like that. When it comes to the students that I work with in the doc program, what is really exciting to me is, again, that they're pioneers, they are innovators. They're taking wicked problems and trying to solve them through journalism and communication and through new media technology. So whether they're working in social media, in games, in VR, they're using these new technologies to solve really big world problems in very meaningful and productive ways.
Rather than thinking of media as something that's isolated or just as part of the entertainment industry, it's something that now is getting into every aspect of our daily lives. So for instance, I study games and I study specifically how games are used in non-game contexts. So it's amazing to see how games are being utilized by journalists, how they're being utilized by industries aside from the game industry, how they're being brought into emerging innovations like virtual reality and augmented reality. So media is something that's growing, and I think you can see that students are interested in that growth, PhD students are interested in that research, and institutions are that focus on media are growing as well.
The media studies research that we do is eclectic. It is not particularly oriented toward any one tradition, either theoretically or methodologically. It is open to new avenues, new ways of thinking about things. The faculty are out there leading on a global scale, and our doctoral students go on to lead on a global scale. And that mix of that diversity of ideas and approaches is what will help us as a society, as a world society, global society, improve and get better. We have to be optimists that the work we're doing contributes in some way.
My experience here in the Media Studies program has been incredible. It's not only made me a stronger researcher and a stronger scholar and a stronger educator, but it has fully prepared me to enter into the workforce and go and get the job that I really want, in the field that I want, doing the work that I love.
One thing that I think makes our program stand out above others is the experiential learning that we get. And in our research. So one thing that I've gotten to do already is go to Ghana this summer with the Media in Ghana program that the SOJC has had for several years under Leslie Steves. And it was just an amazing experience, not only to learn about this other culture, but all the students got internships with different media organizations. I was working with a health nonprofit organization there, and that incorporated some of my research. I was able to do some research there, and that type of experience, especially at the graduate level, I don't think is as common and is really just so valuable.
I think that this program is unique in the degree that it allows you to explore your interests. I don't really see like duplicates of another person or whatnot. I see a lot of support though. And then a lot of, hey, you have all this intellectual agency. You can make this program what you want it to. I think it's a matter of how ambitious you are, how invested you are. It is really something for you to mold.
For around a dozen years, I don't know the exact timeline without going back into the records, I worked very closely with our graduate coordinator who's now passed away, Petra Hagen. And I know that our alums will remember Petra really fondly, just a kind, warm, compassionate person, and she passed away a few years ago. And we had a memorial service, and it was alums actually who basically requested and raised money to plant a tree for Petra, and we planted a tree out in front of the building and had a small service, and several alums wrote notes and I read them, and it was just really powerful. Graduate school is stressful, and they could always go to Petra for a Zen moment. She had a little bowl of aspirational sayings like, resilience, hope, things like this, and you pick one out, and she could always talk students off the ledge and just always stay calm.
I think a lot of things to celebrate. In fact, it happens every June when we celebrate people finishing the program. And it also happens when people get jobs somewhere. And then when they come back to visit or we encounter them at conferences, they have publications, they have their own students who we meet. So I think there are no specific milestones I can point to, but just many points along the way where there have been moments to celebrate. And it's good that we're celebrating 25 years, but also every year we have various things to celebrate.
For me, the highlight of the Media Studies program is when I ask a student to work with me on a research project and their face just lights up because all of a sudden they've moved from being a student to a colleague, and that's a really special moment. And then they move from being a colleague to a friend. And my students are some of the closest friends I have, and I just treasure those friendships.